Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of On Point for today, Friday, the 29th day of August 2025. And of course, my name is Alexis Jeffers and I'm here every Friday afternoon from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. where I spend my lunch hour with you. And of course, our attempt here is to bring information to you of local flavor, regional flavor, and international flavor. So welcome to this edition. Of course, you're listening to Von Radio 860 AM and 93.7 FM. And of course, Von Radio continues to be the Caribbean's only powerhouse. And from these microphones and the airwaves, you get what is truthful and what is wholesome. So before I get any further, let me say greetings to all of the listeners here on Nevis, all 5 parishes that is, and of course the island of St. Kitts, which make up the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. We do have a large following down there as well. And close by, we are looking at islands like Sabre, Statia, St. Bart's, French and Dutch St. Martin, and of course the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico. And indeed, let us go south, Antigua, Barbuda, Montserrat, the whole of the Windward Islands, and of course going further south, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, and of course Guyana. And we have persons from all of these islands and countries living here on the island of Nevis, and we are always happy to welcome them to be among us. And so we convey greetings to their families in those various countries who would listen to Von Radio, because they themselves would want to know what is happening on the island of Nevis, an island that their family would have adopted as their own. And so coming back to Nevis now, let me go through the format that we normally would go through, and that is, of course, at this point we want to reach out to all of the families that are grieving at this time. And indeed, I don't have any specific family here on my list, but of course you know who you are out there, and indeed if you would have lost someone over the last couple of days, couple of weeks, we understand how difficult and challenging it is to overcome such loss. And so we want to convey our best wishes to you and pray for God's guidance and blessings throughout these difficult times. And indeed, while we are mourning the loss of someone, there is always a time to celebrate, because life is what it is. It's a mixture of good, bad, and the indifferent. You lose and you gain in the process, yeah? So those who are celebrating at this time, I want to express birthday greetings to you or anniversary greetings to you. And indeed, I was not here for the last 2 weeks because I myself was under the weather in terms of recovering from the flu. And so I was not able to express birthday greetings to those who were going to be celebrating birthdays last week and the week before, or who would have celebrated. But normally I would have expressed advance greetings to those who would have been celebrating then. And so at this time I just want to say happy birthday to those who celebrated this week. Of course, I know last Sunday we went up to Butler's Community Center and we were celebrating with Miss Carmen, or Mrs. Carmen Phillip, who celebrated her 80th birthday last weekend. It was celebrated last Saturday, but of course the event was last Sunday. And indeed, I want to say, Carmen, it was my pleasure being there. And I want to say to you that everyone who would have been there as well would have certainly appreciated the invitation and also appreciated the fact that they were celebrating this major milestone with you. 80 years is a long time to be on this earth. That is how much? How many? 8 decades. You know, 3 scores and 10 plus another 10. And of course, you can also say, well, it's 4 scores, 80 years, yeah. So that's a long time. No matter how you twist it and turn it or add it up, I want to say it's a long time. And Carmen does not look like she's 80. She looks far younger than that. And so there must be something to her youthfulness. I will say there must be longevity in her family to start with, but Carmen is always smiling. She always has a smile on her face, and I believe once you continue to carry that joy and that love in your heart, it will transcend into the way you look and the way you feel and the amount of years the Lord will bless you with, because that infectious smile goes towards someone else and certainly lifts someone up as well. So Carmen, you are blessed, and we want to wish you many more years of celebration. And I want to say further, Carmen is small or short and diminutive in figure, and I believe short people live a long time. Maybe someone will challenge me on that, but the Lord knows, and He would provide accordingly. But over there in the east, I must say the northeast or the east where we live in Butlers, we tend to have persons who live for a long time, a very long time over there, and it's simply because of having to wake up in the morning and look at the Atlantic Ocean and get that fresh breeze, that country breeze, you know. People have said in the past that Butlers, Brick Hill are behind God's back. I say that's foolishness anyway. I don't even bother with that. We are the ones who see the sun rise in the east in the morning, and by the time we see it and it's gone to our back, some persons here in Nevis are just seeing it. So there's something to getting up in the morning and seeing the sun that early and getting that fresh breeze, and that's what we get over there in the village of Butlers and Brick Hill to some extent, but Butlers of course. So yes, Carmen, have a wonderful rest of the month and the years to come. Yeah, of course, earlier this week my good friend there in Butlers, Nurse Carolyn Busso, would have celebrated her birthday. Carolyn, happy birthday, happy belated birthday to you, and of course your wish many more birthdays as well. And last week I believe Corinne Amethyst Walwyn would have celebrated her 70th birthday. She went on a whole jaunt through all over the globe. So she went globe trotting, and that is what you should do when you celebrate your birthday. Celebrate in style, and I've said it from these microphones that when your birthday comes and you have $10, spend $5 on yourself. If you have 100, spend 50. Once you have the strength, you'll be able to replenish that. But the point I'm trying to make is that you should always celebrate your birthday, which is a major milestone. Many persons have gone to the great beyond, and they are not celebrating anymore. So while you're here on earth, continue to celebrate your birthday. And of course, on Wednesday of this past week, my daughter would have celebrated her birthday. I won't say how old she is, but she's getting older by the minute and the hour and the years. Yeah, and so she would have had a wonderful time, she said, and I want to wish her many more years of celebration. And all those who would have celebrated throughout this week and will celebrate next week, I wish you all the best. Quickly, I want to touch on the weather. The weather outside is beautiful. It's kind of hot, yes, but there's still a little breeze, of course, and there's no cover on Nevis Peak, so I'm trying to give a good picture as to what Nevis is like at this time to those who are not here, because Nevis, I believe, is the most beautiful place on earth, and I would not want to be in any other island, any other country at this time other than to be here in Nevis to enjoy the warmth and the hospitality that we have here. But the weather is nice outside, and indeed we're still in the hurricane season, and once we are in this period of time of the year, we're not at the peak of the season as yet. That comes up in September, but at least at this point in time we haven't had any major hurricane to have any impact on us here in Nevis or in the Federation. But of course we would have seen one of the major storms thus far for the year. It didn't have a direct impact on any land, but of course it was a staunch reminder that we should always stay prepared during the course of this hurricane season. So Erin would have come across the Atlantic, went up into the North Atlantic and have disappeared, but that was a Category 5 hurricane, and if it had touched land, then we know it would have created some major damage, but it did not, and we thank God for that, and we're continuing to pray for God's divine intervention so that we can continue to experience tranquil weather throughout the rest of this season. And of course, with that said, let us stay in a state of readiness. I believe we're heading up shortly to Independence 42, it is, yeah. Independence celebrations are pretty much started, but of course the Independence Parade, I would have been advised, is on the 19th of September, yes, but it's on the afternoon of the 19th of September at 6 p.m. So that is something for us to keep in mind, that on the 19th of December, Independence Day, instead of the 8 o'clock start, it will be at 6 p.m. in the afternoon. That will present a challenge to some, I'm sure, but of course that is up for a discussion. So keep that in mind. And of course I was advised by my good friend there, Kevin Wilkin, up there in Potwork, that he will be having an Independence Dinner buffet style on the 20th, Saturday the 20th of September, up there at his place next to the Medical University of the Americas. And it starts at 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. And, you know, he'll have the usual, you know, menu of oxtail and Creole fish and stew, ribs and curried mutton and all the likes. The cost is just $100 for adults and $50 for children. So those who would want to spend an evening up there in the Potworks area, Grubber, that's the name of his business place, is having that buffet. So I thought I'll give him that particular plug, and he's a good friend of mine, and so I want him to succeed as that as well. So that's an Independence buffet style dinner up there at the Grub restaurant, you want to call it, or takeaway eatery. Let's call it an eatery, yeah? Okay, very good. So this afternoon, I believe I've gone through most of the list of things that I had to mention at this point. But since I haven't been here for the last 2 weeks, those of you who follow this program would know from time to time I would have, you know, I guess with me, because I try to provide a platform for young people to speak about themselves and to speak about their exploits in terms of their profession or the business area that they are pursuing. And so we missed out on that 2 weeks ago, and indeed many of you may have tuned in this afternoon to hear about lands and the likes. I'm not going to touch on those things this afternoon, because I really think it is important to ensure that we maintain the format that we have in terms of giving that exposure. And so this afternoon I do have a guest with me, and I'll introduce you to my guest shortly, but this is my way of ensuring that we provide that platform, like I said, to our young people who are doing marvelous things in our community here on Nevis. And as such, it is important for us to know what they are doing. It is important for us to lend the support to all of the young persons out there who are trying their best to make a difference here on the island of Nevis. We always say the young people are our future, or the young people are the ones who we expect to carry on and blaze the trail after we're gone. So we want them to be a part of what we're doing now, so that at least they're equipped for the future, and not wait until we are gone for them to step in and step up to the plate to get things done. So this afternoon I have with me a young lady who is one of those trailblazers and who have something to say, and that is why she accepted the invitation, I suppose, to come. Because in the past we've had Miss Joelle Brown, who is involved in her own business in terms of juicy bites and juicy fashion and juicy entertainment. And then of course we would have had Monique Washington, who would have come, and she's into things like soap making and cosmetic stuff and so forth. So she would have come and did her thing. And then thereafter we had Mr. Orion Jones. He's into construction, electrical engineering and the likes. So he came and he laid his case out as to why he would have chosen that path. And so we've had some good discussions with those folks. And so this afternoon I would have invited this afternoon to be with me here for a period of time, Miss Shanil Skeet. And Shanil will tell you about herself, but Shanil is taking up some of our lunch break as well to come here and spend some time. And so, sorry. And so Shanil, I want to invite you to the microphones of One Radio. This is not your first time, but this is the first time you're coming to On Point. Yes. So you're on point, and tell us who you are.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone in Radio Land and those who are viewing via the Facebook feed and YouTube feed. As I said, my name is Shanil Skeet, and I am a HR professional. I will have a Bachelor's of Arts degree in Human Resource Management, and I'm currently a Senior Labor Officer 1 at the Department of Labor. But I also have 2 side businesses, and that is what I'm here to speak about this afternoon. I am the owner of Shan Sweets, which is a home-based bakery, and I'm also the owner of S Consultancy, which is a consultancy firm who provide services to businesses, customer service training programs, and also we provide services to school leavers and young professionals, encouraging them and getting them ready for the world of work.
Okay, very good. Okay, so we'll have two areas that we'll discuss, but as we go along, I'm sure other things would come up, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you are into HR, which is human resource development and so forth, and you currently work with the Nevis Island Administration.
Yes.
Of course, you're at the Labor Department. So let us touch on the business side of it first, because at least I am always intrigued with that, because we understand what it means to start a business. In most cases, not an easy thing, and we understand the challenges that are associated with it. So you said you would have started Shan Sweet?
Yes.
Shan Sweet.
Yes.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit about. Well, let's start with how the idea came to you, first of all.
So I always had a passion for baking, because growing up I saw my mom and my great-grandmother baking almost every week. So every Sunday my mother would bake some type of pastry, whether it's a cake or something, and she would always encourage me and my sister to come in the kitchen and see how she gets things done. So from a young age I would have been in the kitchen with her, and then I developed that passion or that love for baking. And so I would bake, regularly, randomly, and share stuff with my friends and family. So I was living in North Carolina for some time. So I would always bake and share with my friends and my family. And then when any type of gathering or function would be held, they'll say, Shanil, you're responsible for the pastry. You bring that because you're good at that. So in 2022, I turned my hobby into a business during COVID. And that's when Shan Sweet Sweets was created. So I already, had a clientele, because I would have friends and family who, they know my stuff is good, they know the quality and the consistency of what I offered. So they didn't hesitate to start paying me for my products. Right. So that is how Shan Sweet Sweets came about in 2022.
Okay. Good. Yes. Okay. In terms of the products that you would normally make or sell, maybe we can look at some of those as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I specialize in Nivision treats and pastries, so stuff like fudge, sugar cake, banana bread, coconut tart, potato pudding, things of that nature, because I want to stay as close as to the Nivision pastries as we can, because people like that. So I try to that's my areas of expertise. However, I do cookies, I do customized birthday cakes and cupcakes, cheesecakes, anything of that nature. So I do specialized treats and customized treats. So anything pastry and dessert wise we offer. So not because I say we specialize in Nivision treats, we also offer a wide variety of different desserts and pastries.
Very good. Okay. Now you mentioned the word passion,
Yes.
And I'm going to look at that, because sometimes persons use passion to start a business, and then in some cases the business creates the passion that fuels your exploiting that business. So in terms of the passion, your business was born out of your passion.
Yes.
And you're using that passion to further build your business.
Yes.
If I want to put it that way.
Yes.
I mean, it requires at least some interest on your part, and
right,
you must be driven by something.
Yes.
Yeah, but keep in mind, though, passion don't pay bills, eh?
It don't. That's why I turned my hobby into money, because I was just doing it for free. And as I said, persons would say, we're having an event, you bring this.
Okay.
And then I say, well, people really like it and my products are good, so why not add a price to it? So that's where the passion turned into dollar signs.
Okay.
At that point. Yes.
Got you. Okay,
Yes.
very good. So along the way, you must have had challenges.
Of
What are some of the
course.
challenges that you've been facing?
So for me, I would say my biggest challenge, I relocated. So I started Shan Sweet Sweets in 2022, and then I relocated to Nevis in 2022. Like 2 years after the pandemic. So the challenge of that was, no, I already had a clientele in North Carolina. Now I'm moving to Nevis. I have to start to build my clientele.
Right.
So that was a challenge. So what I did to attract customers and build my clientele, there were different pop-up shops that would come up. So I started to go to pop-up shops so people could see who is Shan Sweet Sweets, who's the face behind it, what we had to offer, and we would give samples And from then, word of mouth played a big part in my
Right.
marketing and getting my clientele, because once persons tasted what I had to offer, they liked it, they
Right.
started to purchase, and they would tell others. Another challenge would be getting my ingredients on a larger and cheaper scale, because I'm relocating from the US to Nevis. That poses some challenges, but I just seeked out, the best ingredients here so that I could
Right.
maintain my consistent taste and quality of my products.
Very good. Okay, and well, in business sometimes you have a product, and in your case, you're dealing with pastries and sweet treats,
Yeah.
and of course you can make the best cake tasty and you put in all the right ingredients, and then you find that the response may be lukewarm. And it could lead to frustration, and it could lead to
Yes.
you wondering, well, what is really going on. Now, I'm sure you have seen some of that,
Yes.
and you have worked out your maths in terms of how do you overcome or mitigate some of those challenges along the way. But I know you must have experienced that somewhere along the line.
Yes. So there would be times when I would, maybe Christmas is coming or Valentine's, Father's Day, different events, and I would find that you put out a flyer, you maybe give a sale and stuff, and I wasn't getting a huge reception as I thought I would. But then you have to look at the market. There are many persons doing what I'm doing as well.
Right.
So what I came up with in order to maintain a constant cash flow or income revenue for the business, every Friday I have a Sweet Treat Friday.
Right.
So on every Friday, at least 3 Fridays in each month, I would have a Sweet Treat Friday where I would bake specific goodies, and I'll put out a flyer and I would sell. So that is what gives my business a steady income flow, a revenue flow, because every Friday I have something to offer. And I look at what my top sellers are, and those are what I would offer each Friday.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So obviously, then you're leveraging your you're leveraging your passion then in
Yes.
that case, yeah, and,
Yes.
and that I understand. Now, okay. So what are your plans for growing Shan Sweet in the future then? Because obviously you've been around for a couple of years.
Yes.
And you would not want to be stagnant, or you don't want to, in business you have growth, and then you may have this point in time where that line is level and there's no further growth. You don't want to get into that particular zone, but you want to continue to grow.
Not at all.
So
Yes.
what I'm trying to figure out now is what is your plan, or what are your plans and your desires to grow Shan Sweet
So my future plans for Shan Sweet Sweets, I'm looking to expand into catering small events such as corporate events, birthday parties, stuff of that nature, where we can offer snack boxes, so we can include savory items as well, because we do those from time to time.
Right.
And also to get into retail, so maybe partnering and collaborating with some of the grocery stores to get maybe our cookies in store. But something that I am working on at the moment, I've already created it actually, is just to start marketing and getting my proposals out there, is a Nivision treat box, where I would have at least 4 to 5 different Nivision treats in a package, and I would market that to hotels, gift shops, restaurants. A lot of the beach bars have a little gift shops here and there, and also try to collaborate with Ministry of Tourism and the NTA, whatever package deal, when they have tourists and other delegates that come to the island. When they're leaving, they can leave with a goodie bag,
Right.
and Nivision treats are in there. So that is what we're working on. I think that would be a very lucrative initiative. So that is where we're geared towards, where we can expand into catering on a larger scale, and getting the products out there. So even if there's no Sweet Treats Friday, our products can still be available.
Well, as you're saying that, a market just came to mind. That's up there at MUA, the Medical University of the Americas. When the students are studying and so forth.
Yes.
And they're reading their books or whatever the case might be. All of us have gone through it.
You want
to
something
put
to
your
munch
hand
on, yes.
into a box and grab something to
Yes.
munch on. And my understanding is that the student body has grown or will grow to anywhere over 200 plus students for this upcoming semester, the fall semester, because I saw a lot of them coming in over there, the water taxi facility, over the last couple of days. So at least it's up in your area.
Yes.
And it will be an exciting market to tap into. if you have almost 200 students, if
Right.
you can capture 100 of those, I don't know what you sell your boxes for or what those boxes would be sold for. But of course, if you can capture at least 100 of those, then that's at least an additional market that you can tap into. So that just came to mind.
Yes, that's
so
a good idea.
I throw that at
I
you.
like that.
I throw that at you for you to take advantage of, because the thing is, Shanil, you know, I'm always intrigued by young people getting into these things or these business ventures or any other area that can provide growth for them and growth for the island or
Yes.
the country.
Yes.
Because, of course, young people always bring about some innovative ideas. And, of course, those innovative ideas could be in the form of services, goods or products or whatever the case might be. But at least those ideas can help to shape policies, help to shape the future of this island, and so that is why it's important. So you must be an active participant in whatever
Yes.
goes on here in the island of Nevis or in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and of course that is where we'll see all young people making the contribution that we know they can make. And I'm a big advocate for young people to be a part of the process. If I were to say, and I believe if you give me a minute, I always come up with this, not come up, but remind the general public, and maybe I'm like a broken record now because you're familiar with Caribbean pools.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
you know, that's a business that
Yes.
that was started many years ago, back in 1990, I suppose. You may have heard me say it, whether on radio or in our conversations, as to how that started, and that is myself as a young man seeing
Yes.
something and telling myself, well, let's take advantage of this and see how we can build something out of it. Where I was down on the pier there in Charlestown one afternoon and saw these bales or drums of chlorine coming from St. Kitts, and saw it and made a call to our uncle,
Yes.
and asked him, what are these? And my curiosity turned into something big in the end.
It did.
I'm not an active player in that particular establishment anymore, but at least I can say, born out of my curiosity, we were able to start that business, and we started selling chlorine, and it became a major business here in the Federation, because we were able to expand to St. Kitts at one point, did business over there. So at least you know that if you were to act upon your instinct and
Yes.
act upon your impulses, then you can certainly build something. And that is when you're young and exuberant, and you want to get something done. And that is why I'm fascinated by what you're trying to do, because who knows, you can be the next big bakery someday.
is true.
But you don't necessarily have to think about the next big bakery, but you have that niche, and you start to produce a certain product or some products,
Yes.
and you cater to a certain segment of the market,
Yes.
which is what you'll try to exploit. So do you have any plans to at least use the modern day way of getting to your customers, like online sales and that type of thing?
So eventually I would like to do that. So rather than contacting me via WhatsApp Business, you could just go online and place an order, and then I receive it. And also, do like consultations, as some persons could just put in what they want, specific customized, because I want to start doing wedding cakes and stuff like that. So I want to be able to have an online platform where you can go and see what my work looks like. You can choose designs, and then you can place your order right online. So
Right.
I am hoping to expand there, where you can have everything at your fingertips, rather than always having to contact me personally. You could just go and see what you want and place your order.
Very good. And of course, at this point, you would have already established in your mind, based on understanding the market, that price is not always the driving factor, but of course a person's needs and expectations
Yes.
must be met in
Yes,
business in order
for
to
sure.
ensure that you can hold on to that
your-
person
yes.
as a customer. So
Yes, customer retention is
customer-
important. Yes.
Exactly. So you aim for your sales, and you aim to make a profit, yes, but you also have to ensure that you're holding on to your customer base, because they're the ones who are going to continue to patronize you for years to come.
Yes.
And that's how you'll continue to sustain your business. So I'm just saying these things. I'm older than you, but you're younger than me, but
Yeah.
you must have your own ideas too.
Yes.
And you have You must have some innovative ways of getting things done, but I'm always willing to pass on something. Yeah. So that is Shan is sweet. Shan sweet sweets.
Yes.
Yes, and I want to ask the general public to patronize, because out of this program, you don't know, you'll get some calls.
Yes, that is. I hope so.
You'll get some calls, and that is really the main reason for bringing you here, along with all of the others who would have come in the past, and anyone else out there who are listening to this program and would like the exposure. It is there for you to capitalize, and people can only know who you are if you were to come and tell them what you're doing, who you are, and what you can do for them. And so that is Shan Sweet Sweets. Okay, so you said you had a second business that you would have started.
Yes.
And this is one that I'm sure will be of interest to all of the young people out there. So tell us when you started, how you came up with this idea.
Okay, so recently, Shan Sweet Sweets S Consultancy isn't a month yet, but we're maybe 3 weeks old. So how I went about to start this business is I saw the need and the gap. So I find that especially with school leavers and young persons, transition into the workplace wasn't always easy for them, because we have educated individuals, but they don't know how to necessarily operate and function in the workplace. So that's where my idea came from. Being an HR professional with an HR background, I said, I can see where I can tap into this. So what S Consultancy does is that we assist young persons and school leavers with getting ready for the world of work. So from resume writing and building to interview prep, career readiness on a whole, and we also assist them with public speaking so they can build their confidence. And I am also a certified customer service trainer. So with that certification, I also said we have a huge problem here in the Federation where we lack excellent customer service in some areas. So I also S Consultancy also caters to business. So we will meet with employers, reach out to me, businesses, and we meet, and I see what your needs are, and I can tailor a training program to that, so that you can ensure that your employees are creating a great customer service experience for your clientele. Okay. So that's where that's how S Consultancy was born.
And you said it's just a few months or a few weeks old. Okay.
Yes.
So how would you describe S Consultancy's mission? Your mission in a few words, or as many words as you can. Your mission, because everything starts with a mission statement.
Yes.
And that is what guide a business, or in this case, this consultancy business that you have.
Yes.
There must be something that guides you.
So I want to build capable and confident and customer focused individuals and teams. So that is our mission. We want to equip, empower, and elevate individuals and also businesses. So that is our mission. I want persons who are educated to be able to, when they enter the workforce, you don't only have the skill set that is needed, but you have the soft skills and the professional skills to go along with your experience and your credentials for the role. So as I said, we want to equip, empower, and elevate individuals and businesses. So that is our mission.
Okay, so the 3 E's.
Yes.
Equip, empower,
and elevate. Yes.
Okay, so at least that's a part of a mission statement.
Yes.
And so in that case, then perhaps you can share with us be more specific then about the services that you offer. So you say service A, B, C, D, or whatever the case might be. I know you talk about resume writing.
Yes.
So let us articulate those things so at least the general public will know. When they call Shanil Skeet at S Consultancy, then they call in to seek out information on a particular area that you offer services based on what they would have heard.
Okay, so for school leavers and young professionals, young adults, so the services that S Consultancy would offer to you would be resume building and writing, interview preparation, workplace ethics and behaviors training, and public speaking. And all of this is a part of career readiness. So we'll give you a career readiness packaging hitting all those different areas that I just touched on. So even though S Consultancy has just officially launched, I would have already done work for individuals as it relates to resume writing and interview preparation, and they have been successful with getting jobs. So it's not just saying, oh, because I have an HR background that I think that I can do this. I have persons who can attest to that my skill set and what I tell them and how we get them prepared to get the next job, it is proven. So if you not sure what a resume looks like and you contact me, we can go through it. We could see what credentials you have, what experience you have, and we tailor your resume to the specific job that you are seeking.
Right.
On the flip side, now when it comes to businesses, we are here to help you create as I keep saying, a memorable customer service experience. So what we're doing is we're focusing on strengthening your customer service culture, your communication, and the overall workplace professionalism.
Right.
Yes.
But this might be a slight diversion from what we're talking about. Maybe it falls under your, under what you're trying to accomplish. But, what I find is that a lot of young persons would start primary school, get into high school, and by the time they're second, third form, they still don't know what they want to do. Yes. But at some point they decide, well, I'm going to take up accounting or something of that sort, because it may seem easy to some to get into some of these these subject areas. But in terms of what we see are paying big money or lucrative careers, it's more in the technical field.
Yes.
And so we have a lot of persons who are still going away to study business administration, accounting. Not that these areas are not good areas to go into, but they are better areas. But part of the difficulty, I believe, is the guidance that is provided to these young people from an early age. And I've always wondered what the guidance counselors and so forth are doing in these schools, because as the name suggests, the guidance should be provided by the counselors.
That is true.
and so I heard the Premier speak of the fact that hardly any divisions are part of this group of 28 persons who are headed off to Taiwan.
Yeah.
And then, of course, some of the scholarships that probably can be utilized to get into technical field, because I look at some of the folks who would have gone into electrical engineering or into plumbing, into those type of field. They're the ones who are making some serious monies, but our young people are not seemingly wanting to gravitate
to
those areas. And so I'm wondering if that's a part of your thrust in terms of having that discussion with young people who you're exposed to, in terms of after listening to them, after speaking to them and putting everything together, whether you can provide such guidance to them as to career path.
Yes, so that is a part of the career readiness package that we put forward. You have conversations to see where their mind is, what do they want their future, their career path to look like. But just to piggyback on what you said, I find that there needs to be some type of career readiness focus class within the high school, so that persons could get a feel of what they want to do. And that's also where internship opportunities come into play as well, because when you do an internship, you get a feel of, do I really want to be an accountant, or do I want to go in another direction? So sidebar, I'm a part of a group with young professionals and entrepreneurs. It's called Empowerpreneurs, and we are putting a proposal together so that we can submit it to the Ministry of Education, because we find that the TVET, the technical and the vocational skills, as you said earlier, that's where the money is. So a lot of persons feel like, oh, if I go into that field, that means I'm not academically inclined. But that's far from the truth. We have an institute in St. Kitts, AVEC. It's accredited. We are frowned upon it, but when you go to AVEC, you are going to get the necessary credentials to enter into any technical vocational, because they have mechanics, electricians, plumbing, different things, welding. All of those areas makes money. So I want to just put a plug into not because the technical and vocational skills, they drive the economy. So I want young persons to start to tap into that and, you know, ask questions and meet with people. So our proposal is geared towards TVET.
Right.
So we want to collaborate with entrepreneurs in those areas and create like an internship mentorship program.
Yeah.
So that's what we are focusing on. So just wanted to put that plug in there. But as consultancy, we definitely will have a career path readiness because there's testing. Because when I went off to university, I did not know exactly what I wanted to do. I know I was going to go to college, but I didn't know what area I would study.
Right.
And I had a career readiness class my first year of college. And that was the class that got me geared towards the HR management path, dealing with persons and helping create policies and procedures and stuff like that. So I am putting in a plug as well to the Ministry of Education to consider a career readiness class for high schoolers, especially when they get into that third form where they start to choose the subject areas to sit for CXC, because that will help them in the long term, because everybody feel like they're obligated to do business, but there's so many other career paths out there and fields of study to get into. And I think that we also need to look at like some type of needs assessment or analysis to see what the country needs, so that persons could kind of focus on those areas. Any type of specialization or anything, let me study this rather than becoming a doctor or a lawyer or something of that nature. Let's see what the country needs so that we don't have to outsource you know, certain services.
Yeah. And you speak of a career readiness path.
Yes.
One of the challenge we have here, one of the shortcomings we have for sure, is the fact that, you know, you have this career day.
Yes.
At the end, pretty much you call it at the end of that cycle.
Yes.
After going through. So career readiness path should be something that is upfront and children are exposed to that, so that when it comes to the career day, persons already have an idea as to where they're going and are trying to figure out then.
Yes, exactly.
And so that is why I brought it up, that it is important that our young people are, you know, the discussion is held with them. You see the potential in them early, because a lot of them would show exactly what their tendencies would be and where they'll be inclined to
and there are tests for that. There's tests as well where the students could take tests, and that will give them an idea of what you're leaning towards, what your strong areas are. Maybe you should consider going in that path.
Right.
So at S Consultancy, we will have a test when you're speaking about your career readiness path and stuff. We have a test that you can take to see what areas pique your interest, what you score high on, and that could be like a kind of nudge to say, okay, maybe I should take this path, you know, rather than doing what mommy or daddy says, or because everyone is doing this to follow them, but rather follow where your strengths are, build on your strengths. Right.
I will still say though that as you say, rather than going with what mommy and daddy say, I will still think that if daddy is in construction and daddy is successful at construction, there may still be a space.
Yes, that is true.
For whomever, male or female, young man or young woman, in that particular field, because you want some continuity.
Yes, that is true.
In that area, right?
Yes.
Not that it holds true in every case, but I would speak of perhaps Orion Jones, who was here a few weeks ago. His dad is a contractor.
Yes.
And he has come along and have decided, well, he wants to take over from his dad.
Right, because he wants that generational wealth as well. Yes.
Exactly. So it doesn't hold true in every case. Yeah. But once that is acknowledged and spotted early, then of course you'd want to use that as the leverage to push someone
into that direction,
area and to continue pursuing that path. Yeah.
Yes.
So I just thought I'll put that.
That is true,
because it is what it is. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So in that case, you spoke about the services you offer to school leavers, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you spoke about that before. I think I already mentioned that. So then, my next question to you then is, what challenges do you see young people facing when entering the workforce or the field of work? What challenges are you seeing as you're into human resource? Yes, your business is young, but of course, as a young person being here on the ground in Nevis, and exposed to young people, you must have seen
Yes.
and can really look at these challenges and see how they can be overcome, mitigated in some regard.
So, a huge challenge. Well, let me start up. Even before they get into the workplace, some of them don't know what a resume should look like. So that we have to start from there. So resume writing, how do you kind of sell yourself to the employer on paper first before they see you? So trying to get yourself into the door just by what they see on the resume. So that is a huge issue. Proper resume writing. Interview preparation as well. But a major thing is that they're lacking soft skills like communication, teamwork, punctuality, regular attendance at work, just how to communicate and speak in general, just, speak standard English, stuff like that. It's more than just your educational background. You have to have employers value those things just as much as the technical skills that you'll bring and the education and any type of certifications that you may have. So that is a big area, just how to function. So they lack proper workplace ethics and behaviors. So that is a big challenge that we are facing, and that is one. In my capacity where I work, I would interact with young persons all the time because we have an employment agency when they're seeking employment, and that is where they lack. They want to apply for a job, but you don't have a proper resume, you don't know how to conduct yourself, how to speak. So that is where as consultancy we're trying to polish and groom our young individuals as they enter the world of work. So we're trying to help. We are going to help them get the job, and then we're going to help them function in the workplace.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so workplace, business.
Yes.
Well, business is about making money and also offering a service. So you probably can let us know from the S consultancy standpoint as to what you plan to help businesses improve their customer service culture. Because, as I said from the get-go, even with Shan Sweet,
Yes.
Price is important, yes, but there's much more to it than just price. And so the customer service aspect of a business is far more important than price to start with. There are people out there who just want to shop because you have a good price.
Yes.
And that's it. But there are others, and a large section of our community would be turned off by from a company that has terrible customer service.
Oh, yes.
So the question I have for you is, how do you, or what are some of the plans you may have, or in your overall business mandate? How do you plan to help businesses to improve their customer service culture?
So with that, of course you have those conversations with management, the employer, but I always tell them you have to ensure that you're taking care. I use this little phrase: you take care of the people who are taking care of the people.
Right.
So in a nutshell, you have to ensure that your employers are happy and satisfied and motivated.
Right.
That will filter out to the customer. So once the back end most times is taken care of, then you'll have persons who will deliver good customer service. That is not always the case. So I will tailor whatever areas they feel need to be improved. I'll do an audit, and then I'll tailor the training program to fit their needs. So that is how I plan to. That's how I'll focus on strengthening the customer service and the customer service experience. So once we'll tailor the training program to the business's liking, to their needs, and then that is how we'll train the employees so that they could have an overall customer service experience, good customer service experience, and build a clientele and encourage others to come. So support the business.
Okay.
Yes.
So in terms of our young people, what is your general feeling on our young people? Do you have some confidence? Are you one who, after being exposed to young people, will say that there is some hope?
Of course there is. In talking to them, I mean, sometimes they just want to have a listening ear as well, and I try to provide that for some. I just got a mentee, so there was someone who came to me and asked me if I could, mentor them, and of course I did, because she's going into her third year of university, so I'm looking forward to what our relationship will go into. But there is hope. They just need the encouragement and the push, and that is why it is very important that we provide them with the necessary tools in order to go off to university and go into the workplace. So all hope is not lost. We just need to be a little bit more patient with some of them and hold their hand a little while longer, and then we'll be able to, you know, equip them and then send them off into the world.
Right. Speaking to you and listening to you have given me some confidence
Yes.
as well too. I mean, sometimes we're quick to condemn all young people, and I don't see any reason why we should, because all of us, as no matter how old we are, we would have come through those ranks, so to speak, when we were born and we grew up and we made our mistakes and we had our challenges, and here some of us would have gone through all that and those experiences and are here to tell the tale, so to speak, because it is not easy, and it must not be said to our young people anything out there is easy, but it is possible.
Yes.
Even going abroad to go to school, to university, or whatever the case might be, I know at some point I would have said to myself, listen, many have gone out there before me, and they would have worked 2 jobs and 3 jobs and went to school and that kind of thing, and they would have succeeded. So that is how I look at life, really, and that's how our young people should look at life, that as challenging as it is, there are others who may have had even more challenge than they're having now, but I know things are challenging these days. But the good thing about, you know, the era that we're in is because I can say that we have the exposure to all of the tools, technical tools.
Yes, at our fingertips, literally.
As a matter of fact, I heard recently on the news that as of next year, CXC will be using AI as a tool in the learning process. So, you know, you can type in whatever and it pops up. You get your answers to certain things. And of course, we have to embrace these new things, because that is where the world is going, and so we cannot turn a blind eye to these things. And that is why I say that our young people must be encouraged as they go along, because things are just different these days. And you know, the books that we used to read, you know, get it online, an entire book.
Yes.
So it is a completely different era that we're in. So yes. So you have come, Shanil. You have I think we have a few minutes left, but you have come. You have spoken about Shan Sweets.
Yes.
You have spoken about S Consulting, and of course you're still employed as a civil servant. Yes. So it therefore means that you have your hands in quite a number of things.
Yes.
And indeed, as I spoke about the era that we're in, it is so much different now, because you can balance your time and your effort and your energies among these 3 areas and more, of course, because you go to church, you have a recreational life, or you have your leisure time as well too, and you have your personal things to take care of. So it is a lot to deal with, but it can be done.
Yes.
If you find that balance and you want to strike that balance in your life, and that is the message I believe that has to be conveyed to our young people, that there is, or there are, things you can do to get away from some of the antisocial things that are being done out there, and some of our young people are getting involved in. And so the future looks bright, and the future must be embraced in such a way that can certainly provide hope for our nation, and hope for this island to start with, and hope for the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, our nation. And so I want to give you a chance to inject anything as you wanted to say, because we'll be going into a wrap-up phase shortly. We just have about another 5 minutes.
Okay. So for all your pastry needs and sweet treats needs, I want you to contact Shan Sweet Sweets. We are on Facebook and Instagram at Shan Sweet Sweets. You could always send us a direct message on those platforms, or you can contact us on WhatsApp Business 668-9224. And all we ask is, if you have a customized order, you just give us a 7 days notice. And remember, every Friday is Shan Sweet Sweets, Sweet Treat Friday, so be on the lookout for our posters and our flyers. And also, as it relates to S Consultancy, we are new, yes, but with my background, I've been in HR for over 8 to 10 years, so I do come with the expertise I'm certified, and there are persons who can attest to my capabilities. As I said, I've helped individuals with their resumes and also interview prep, and they've been successful with getting the job. And to young people, I just want you to don't lose focus. Don't lose focus. Find out what you want your career path to be. Take the subjects that will lead you or get you to there, but it's also important to try to find internship opportunities because it's going to look good on your resume. So I'm also sending out a plea to businesses to, create internship opportunities. It doesn't have to be all summer, but maybe 1-2 weeks, just so that they can get the hands-on experience. I mean, I just give them a little stipend. I'm not saying to pay them because I know you have to factor in those costs as well, but it will be beneficial to them because when I was in university, I benefited greatly from internships and also a career path readiness. So I am encouraging the Ministry of Education to also tap into that so that we could, create well-rounded individuals, because it's not going to just be about academics. It's going to be about the skill set, the technical, the vocational skills, and also those soft skills that are much needed in the world of work. And I want to thank you for having me this afternoon. It was great speaking and letting people get to know a little bit more about myself and what my businesses offer. Thank you.
Excellent. And you see, as simple as that, we would have gone through almost 50 minutes. So, there's always a lot to say.
Yes.
But coming out of this conversation, I want to encourage our young people to consider starting a little business. Doesn't have to be in the pastries and so forth, but there are so many other areas that you can tap into. Because
find your niche, yes.
Of course, that's right. Find your niche. But of course, a small business or any business of any type would provide for you some independence, and that is the start of good things to come. You control your time, you manage your time, you manage your resources. Management comes into play, and that's how you would want to manage your life as well too, in terms of what you do. But of course, you'll develop valuable skills that over time you can use those skills for problem solving or to assist someone else in the case that you're in your case where you're assisting persons along the way. And of course, you can certainly leverage your passion in that case, put it into a business, making that business your passion and your passion that business, if you want to put it that way. I put that before you because I mentioned it earlier. So it is always, in my opinion, a good way to go in terms of establishing something that you can dedicate your time, your effort, and your energies. And so my admonition to our young people is, go out and grab whatever opportunities there are. As they say in life, one hand can't clap. So the challenges of life these days is that there are more expenses out there. Life has become a bit more expensive to maintain. So if you have areas, you have your work, your 8 to 4 work or whatever the job or whatever you want to call it, and then you have something on the side, it is always to your advantage. I have never gone anywhere where people are depending on one source of income. People are always looking for additional areas that they can tap into so as to ensure that they have that scope, So very good, Shaniel. Well, thanks for coming. It was indeed my pleasure. And as I said from the onset that we tried today to follow the format that we would have from time to time in terms of having someone come in as a young person to put their to put whatever venture they are in, put it out there to the general public so that the general public can be informed. And I will say to you that based on what we have done before, persons have met me on the streets of Charleston. I say I enjoy that show.
Lovely.
I enjoyed it because we can talk politics every single day when we come here. And when I say every single day, more Monday down to Sunday, we can talk politics. But in most of those conversations, the real ideas and ideals of what we should be imparting to the general public are lost, because not everybody wants to hear politics every day. Yeah,
that is true.
So this is the difference that we want to create from time to time. And anyone who are listening out there is a young person and want to come on to speak about their exploits, the platform is always available for them to do so, because I'll be the first to accommodate you. Yeah. Okay. So I think our time is just about up. I see it's now 1 minute to 2. And this is my lunch hour coming to an end, and you probably would say yours is coming to an end too. So I wanted to get back to work, and I want to thank you for coming. I want to thank everyone for listening this afternoon. Of course, it is always my pleasure to come here on a Friday afternoon and spend an hour with you and to bring some information that we feel is important to you as the listening public and important to the island and the country as a whole, and such exposure of our young people is part of that process as well. So those of you who did not get this show from the start, you can get it on YouTube and other social media platforms which Von Radio have as their way of getting information out to you. And so as we wrap up this afternoon, I want to thank you once again. Those of you who go to church on a Saturday, go and serve your God. If you go to church on a Sunday, do likewise. Pray for the station, pray for myself, pray for the island and the country of St. Kitts and Nevis. And of course, you ask God's blessings and His intervention to make us a better people. Thank you for listening. May God continue to bless us all, and stay safe throughout the weekend, and have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.
The views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants.